Hi everyone, my name is Obafeyekemi Luther, and yes, that is Obafeyekemi, the full name, no shortcuts. I'm so happy to be back here again with you all, and today we're going to be talking about self-love and self-esteem. Now, I'm sure you guys have been hearing a lot about self-love and self-esteem all over the place, and self-care. Now, why is this important? It's important because your self-esteem and your self-love is that thing that's gonna give you an extra mileage in your everyday life and in your relationships. Now, what is self-love? Self-love is how you think about yourself, how you care about yourself, the compassion, the grace, the kindness that you give to yourself. And it's very important. Now, your self-esteem is something that is in you already. Self-love we work on, it's the process, but self-esteem is already inside. It's how you see yourself, the kind of value you place upon yourself. Now, all this sometimes may seem like buzzwords that we use, self-love, self-care, but this is something that's been around forever. I had a little bit of a, like a light bulb moment about a Bible phrase that we always use. Love thy neighbor as you love yourself. And I always used to think, am I supposed to love my neighbor more than myself? And then it came to me, nope. You can't love anyone unless you love yourself first. You can't love God, you can't love your friends, you can't love your family if you don't love yourself. And so I realized how important self-love is, and even more in today's world. A lot of our relationships are falling apart because a lot of people don't have love for themselves. And one of the things that we want to do today is just encourage you in loving yourself, in getting your self-esteem back, in getting yourself to a place of authenticity, because that is the most important thing that you have. Now, I want to read a little letter to yourself because this is going to be the beginning of a way forward. So we're going to read a message to your past self. It says, I'm so sorry for not always believing in your potential. I often held you back with negative thinking and self-doubts. In the most crucial of times, when you needed as much positivity as possible, I didn't always help. But most important, I'm thankful for you. I'm learning so much more from watching you through my memories. Even in the world ending, fears and circumstances, you held to faith and purpose. You always took that step forward and believed in the bigger picture. Your faith saved me, and who I am today is thankful that we never gave up. Love, self. Now, I saw that letter and I thought it was so profound because when we write messages to our past self, we begin to forgive ourselves for all the things that we've, said about ourselves, said to ourselves. We forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we've made. We forgive ourselves for things that we didn't know. And in beginning to learn, we know how to move forward. So when you write letters to yourself or when you speak to yourself, you begin to practice self-love. You begin to practice ways to forgive yourself, give yourself more compassion, give yourself more grace to go on with everyday life. This is a very important step. Now, self-love is something that people ask, how do I begin to love myself? It's accepting yourself for who you are, accepting your flaws, accepting the big things that other people may see as issues, but just looking inside you and loving who you are, that special thing that makes you tick. A lot of you wonder when I introduce myself and I say Obafeyekemi, and why is it such a big deal? Now, learning about my name was one step closer to me loving who I was, because my name gave me sort of like a understanding of what my purpose was in this life and how I was supposed to treat people and how I was supposed to respond to people. Now, you can take that as a kind of a lesson for yourself. What is it about you that makes you special? What is that unique feature about yourself that maybe you've always thought was weird or different from other people? You can start there. Start by loving that special, unique trait about you. Now, what are ways that you can begin to love yourself more? 1, stop taking yourself too seriously. Have fun in life. Play with yourself more. Really focus on your inner child. Find someone who, in the public eye, a friend, a family member, someone that you can use as a self-love role model, someone who you aspire to be like, and use them as a benchmark for ways to begin to love yourself more. Stop watering other people's flowers. What I mean by that is start taking more care of yourself. Everything about self-love starts with you first. Making sure that you take time to rest, making sure that you take time to really appreciate what makes you tick. Taking time to focus on the things that give you joy in the world. What is it about you that shines a light in your spirit? Celebrate the little things. Celebrate the small accomplishments. Always take time to take a moment to celebrate your wins. Cut out the negative self-talk. That's one of the most important things. How do you speak to yourself? A lot of people speak to themselves far worse than how other people speak to them. Acknowledge your feelings. It's okay for you to feel sad. It's okay for you to feel down. I spoke about something about toxic positivity. Many people these days tend to run away from the scary stuff. They tend to run away from the sad feelings. They tend to run away from the things that make us down. But our feelings are very important in the self-love journey. You must acknowledge your feelings, acknowledge your sadness, acknowledge your pain, acknowledge your happiness, acknowledge your joy, acknowledge your anger. It's all a part of who you are and what makes you unique. Then cut off toxic people. Anyone that brings negativity into your life, anyone that brings out the sour spot in you, that and a few other things are some steps that you can take in your self-love journey. But always remember to be kind to yourself, to be good to yourself, to remember to nurture yourself. And as we said before, you can't love your neighbor if you haven't started with loving you. It is so important. And especially if we're talking about relationships. There's no way you're going to go into a relationship without loving yourself first. You can't give love to someone if you don't have love for yourself. So I would say begin to date yourself, begin to take yourself on little outings, spend time alone with yourself and begin to actually like yourself. One of the best things to do is to find a little corner somewhere where you can listen to some music, you can take some chill time out and really begin to focus on yourself. What do you like about yourself? What do you love about yourself? What are the things that you can see in yourself that makes you smile, that gives you some joy? Celebrate those things. Because then, when you find a partner, it's much easier for you to send that same love out to the person. Now, self-love is a journey that is never ending, because each and every day we come up with things that are gonna push back to us, things that are going to challenge us. And it's an opportunity for you to practice how to love someone else. So beginning to love yourself is the greatest chance that you're going to learn how to love someone else. Dating can be scary, but there's nothing to be afraid of. It's just taking the opportunities, taking the time and the chance to believe that there's someone out there for you. Again, I'm Obafeyekemi, and I hope you've enjoyed this.